Hey guys, this is FK here, and this week I want to try something a little bit different. I'm actually commentating for the first time in my life, and we are here for last Sunday's league race around China. Um, and I was pretty confident going into this one, not because of my quali pace, but because of my race pace. Joining on board for this quali lap, you can actually see I had a pretty nice first sector, so you can see I'm only 300s off Tunitsa at this point, and I get a pretty good exit out of the hairpin as well. But this section coming up, I didn't really nail as I turned in just a tiny bit too early for the first part. And then also in this section, I actually managed to miss both apexes. So that cost me some time, and we only improved by like 2 tenths in the second sector. Then also a slight lockup going into this corner, but this is probably the most important corner coming up because you want to get a really juicy exit onto the long back straight. And I managed to do so quite nicely. And yeah, this straight is really long, so DRS is also really effective on this track. We're gonna notice that in a race, definitely. And braking into this corner, I was a little bit early on the brakes because I didn't want to lock up and lose a lot of time. But it was still fine, and also the last corner wasn't quite hooked up. So as you can see, we're actually 2.5 tenths down on Tunitsa, and that puts me P4 on the starting grid. So for the race, I'm just taking out some fuel of the car, and also changed my pit lap to 11 because that was where I wanted to pit, but I didn't do in the end. You're gonna see that in just a second. So on the race start, I'm actually getting like a really good start here, but Kevin actually cuts me off on the inside of turn 1. Also, I make contact with Kozak not once but twice, so it's a miracle how I didn't spin there. Then also going into turn 2 actually, we make contact again, but being on the outside, that gave me really good traction, so I'm through on Kozak and up into P3, just defending the inside line into this hairpin, because that's quite crucial. You don't want to get dived down in the first lap. And so I find myself behind Kevin and Tunitsa at this point, and you can see I already put my ERS deploy down to none, because when you're in someone's slipstream, you don't really need to use a lot of fuel or ERS. So I just want to make sure I get these corners right and just kind of stay with them until DRS is enabled. And so far I'm dropping back just a little bit, but that's fine because my race pace was pretty good, so I wasn't worried that they could get a breakaway on me. And if I look behind, Kozak is also not quite close enough to make a move here, so I'm feeling pretty safe into this corner and just braking a little bit early. You don't want to lock up on the first lap because that could put you on some pretty high pressure. And also this last corner, the bollard's already gone. That's something that happens all the time on lap 1. So skipping on to lap 7 now, you can see Kevin actually overtook Tunitsa for the lead. And I'm still staying in P3, but I kind of lock up, need to go down to 3rd. Then here I make a big mistake as I lose the rear a bit. So I'm losing a lot of time right now. Also Kozak's getting really close behind me. And yeah, I actually missed the apex here again, so this is not good at all. And also I lost the rear under accelerating, so Kozak is really close to me and might be in a position to make a move. But I actually go back to the outside because I felt more comfortable braking there. So going into the corner, putting the fuel and the ERS down, you can actually see that I get a much better exit than Kozak, so I defended the position successfully. And still behind Kevin and Tunitsa, and still in the DRS zone, so that's good. Then skipping on to lap 9, you can actually see that Kozak pits. I was thinking about doing the same, but I was worried that the tires wouldn't last. So next lap, I'm still not pitting, but Tunitsa is. And at this point, I knew I was gonna come out in P4 because the undercut is quite big. So I actually decided to go for another lap and let Kevin pit. And I just put the fuel and the ERS up so I don't lose too much time and try to come out back in the DRS zone of those guys. And not really like lose myself any major time, but I'm gonna have the freshest tires out of all of them. So going into pit entry, this is actually a really hard pit entry because it's easy to mess up and easy to like lose a lot of time in. So we get a pretty good pit stop, and on the exit you can see I'm coming out in a net P4, so my plan has definitely worked and I'm still definitely in the DRS zone. So I was feeling like I'm in a brand position to at least get a podium in this race, or maybe even try to challenge for the win. And skipping on to lap 18, you can see Kozak's weaving like crazy because he wants to break the slipstream. I have personally no problem with that. And Tunitsa's actually going for the move. So Tunitsa's going for the lead also around the outside, and he manages to make the move stick. So this is the point where I knew that I really needed to push to like be able to have a chance to win this race. So skipping on to lap 19, the very next lap, Kevin is also gonna try to overtake Kozak, but he decides to go to the inside, and Kozak actually outbrakes himself, so it's a pretty easy move for Kevin in the end, and I'm right on the back of Kozak, and I knew I had to get through him as soon as possible, so I was pushing like crazy at this point. And skipping on to the straight on lap 20, you can see I'm actually pretty close to Kozak, but I don't think I can dive him quite yet, so I just show myself on the inside to maybe make him a little bit nervous. And just try to get a good exit so I may be able to challenge him into turn 1. And this last corner is really crucial, and I managed to hit it pretty nicely, but just some slight oversteer on the exit, so my exit wasn't the best of all. I'm actually not quite in position to attack. I'm showing myself again, but at this point you can see Kozak's grip is just a lot worse than mine, and I tried to get a good exit here to challenge him, but instead I just lose it because Ridge and overtake wasn't gonna work with my input that I normally use for lean and none, so I lost myself about 7.5 seconds here, so that was my chances of getting onto the podium gone. But you can see Jack is still only 3.2 ahead, so I wanted to really try and catch him at the end of the race. And skipping on to lap 26, you can see I'm only 2.2 away. So it might have been close in the end, but you can see I do another massive mistake because my concentration at this point just dropped off completely because I was fuming at myself that I made that big mistake. So unfortunately, that means I'm also not gonna challenge for P4, and I pretty much have to settle for P5, unfortunately. Which is a shame because I thought I had quite good pace and really wanted to get like a podium. But in the end, things just go wrong sometimes. So yeah, this has not been the best race for me, but I quite enjoyed it anyway. So if you also enjoyed it, please make sure to hit like and subscribe because that means a lot of to me. Also, maybe try to write a comment and tell me if you actually like the idea of me commentating on my races more often. So I guess see you guys next week for Australia. And yeah, see ya.